not cooperating with me at all. I've been counting on you for years, Karen. How are you not going to betray me like all the rest? Tell me you're not. No! All right. We're going to do it the scanner way. I'm going to suck your brain dry. Everything you are is going to become me. You're going to be with me, Karen, no matter what. After all, brothers should be close, don't you think?
Now that's one brawl you definitely don't want to be a part of. What's cracking, my creep freaks, horror heads, and hellions of horror? Welcome back once again to Father Lokk's Favs, Horror Hall of Fame, Fan Faves Choice Awards. This shocking honoree took the early 80s by storm for its terrifying and fascinating visuals and its sleek and stylish take on telepathy and the metaphysical sciences of telekinesis. Packed with some great action scenes and some scares, and has a great storyline, this is a film that would definitely grab your interest and pack your mind with so many thoughts, it just might make your head explode. My fourth inductee is from Fan Fave Choice Award winner Miss Annie "She Ready" Martin, inducting David Cronenberg's 1981 telepathic terror, Scanners. Before I go into why I chose Scanners as my fourth inductee, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit your notification bell so when I upload new content, you will be notified first. I chose Scanners for my fourth inductee because David Cronenberg is one of my ultimate favorite directors, hands up and down. This man's concepts on films and thoughts on how to direct is so far out of the box. I mean, we're talking about the 80s here. The visuals and the special effects of this film is so dynamic for its day and age, and being a film that I feel that went under the radar, I had to induct Scanners as one of my ultimate favorite inductees and films that I've grown to love so much. Congratulations once again, Miss Annie, and thank you for picking Scanners. I love this film. Thanks for sticking with me once again, and stick by a little bit longer, because now is that time for me to tell you my first experience with this telepathic telekinesis terror you now know about, and us as fans all know as Scanners. Yes, here we go once again. Welcome, my creep freaks, my horror heads, and hellions of horror. Thanks for joining me for another Father Lokk's Favs Horror Hall of Fame Fan Favorite Choice Awards. And before I get started and get on into this video, be sure to hit your subscription button, hit your notification bell, and please give this video a thumb up. It will really help me, and I will love you forever. I also want to give another shout out to our Fan Favorite Choice Award winner, Miss Annie She Read It Martin, for picking Scanners as the 4th inductee. Thank you so much, Miss Annie. Your inductee is being inducted. Now that I've made those statements, let me go ahead and get started. Just like my first inductee, The Exorcist, I was introduced to Scanners at the age 5. This was 1981. I turned 5. And unfortunately for me, like The Exorcist, I got spared a little bit, just a little bit, because I got to see it at home. Now with Scanners, I got to see Scanners on the big screen, introduced to this film by my horror head mother. I'm surprised this woman didn't traumatize me. A lot of these horrible horror films that I've seen very young in life, and just to think, my mother introduced me to these films. Why don't you do that to your child? But let me go on. So for about a good week and a half, 2 weeks, the trailer for this movie had been going on, and everybody had been talking about it. I'm hearing my mother and all her friends talking about it, and my uncles and this and that and the other and so on. So the film finally releases. My uncles go and watch the film. They come back, they raving about it, this and that and the other. So my mother and all of the family made plans on going to watch the film. So of course, I get out of school and everybody jumping in, taking the showers, putting in their clothes, and me the same, getting out my school clothes, getting in my regular day clothes, because we're going out and we're going to the movies. Get to the theater, get the popcorn, get everything, we get our seats, and of course, at this time, my mother was young in life. I think my mother maybe had been in her early 30s, maybe not even that old. And of course, they want to be right in the middle to the front. Y'all hear me? So the movie goes ahead and starts, you know what I'm saying? And right off the bat, you are introduced to Cameron Vale, who is a scanner who was kept on ice by this program called Concept. And as I get into the video, you'll find out who Concept is. And, well, you'll find out now, because I'll tell you a little bit about it to introduce Cameron Vale to. They kept him on ice, and the Concept leaders, because of a scanner that is a rogue scanner, and he's very strong, and he's using his scanning ability to prey on regular, normal human beings. Fuck us for not being born with an ability, right? So he's unthawed, or whatever the case. You don't see any of this. They tell you this throughout down into the movie. Sorry for the early spoiler, but you'll get to see. And he comes into a mall, and there's a food court or whatever, and he's wandering around the food court,
and he's eating meals out of the left food that's on tables and stuff like that. Like, it's disgusting to say the least. But more than the disgust, there's these two older ladies that are sitting at the food court and they're eating and they're talking, and they see him eating the different stuff off the random, you know what I'm saying, and they get to talking shit about him. And he focuses in on the lady, and she's, oh, do you see that guy over there? Oh, it's so disgusting. How do they let animals like that and people like that in here? And they just hitting the man with non-stop treats, like they're just really going in on him. And he focuses in, you all, as you can see around me, the video around me. They're focusing in on him and his disgust and all this. And at the same time they focusing and talking their crap about him, he's focusing in on what the lady's saying. And then all of a sudden, she stops talking and goes into this seizure-like fit of some sort. And you can clearly tell that it's him by his reaction. He's staring off, and then he goes into these motions as if he's releasing some type of energy of some sort, or whatever the case may be. And these men see him, and they're part of concept, you know, or whatever the case may be. And what they're trying to do is accumulate all the scanners of the world that are good scanners, that haven't been introduced or influenced by Dale Ravick's legion of rogue scanners, or whatever the case may be, because they're trying to send these scanners out to counteract him, possibly kill him, and get rid of him, is what their plans are. So they see him do this to the lady or whatever, and they capture him or whatever, and they take him to Dr. Paul Ruth. And Paul Ruth is actually the person who created scanners. And how he created scanners, because his wife was pregnant at this time. And by him being a scientist and works in pharmaceuticals and in medicine, he created this drug called ephemeral that helps pregnant women during labor and during their pregnancy, to make it a lot easier for them during their labor and during the pregnancy as a whole. And of course, the first trial, by his wife being pregnant, he gives it to his pregnant wife. Drug works perfect. Pregnancy's fine, labor's fine, the whole works, everything's fine. But what he did not see, or maybe he did see, was a unseen side effect the drug had on the unborn children, which heightened their mental, mental frequencies and electrodes and signals, or whatever the case may be. It heightened them to the point where they could link their mind to anything with a nervous system. And whatever the thought is that they're thinking of to happen to you, happens to you. So they take him to Paul Ruth, and at this point in time, because I'm trying to hit the points in the film, but not trying to bring you the whole film, I'm not trying to make a super long video, but just enough for you all to understand, and to understand why I'm inducting scanners and possibly introducing you to scanners. For those who are watching that haven't been introduced to the film, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the film. If you ever get the pleasures of watching it beyond me showing you midpoints and this and that, and it's my first experience watching the film. And they take him to Ruth, and they take him to this room, and everyone is coming in because I guess he's doing some type of a conference to show you how scanners work, or to introduce scanners to this group of people that he's working with, or whatever the case may be. And as they're coming in to observe Cameron, he hears every thought of every human being that's coming into the room, and every random thought that they are having, and it's driving him berserk. I mean, this man's tied to bed, and he's just berserk, and he's just going through these emotions and so on and so forth. And Dr. Ruth gives him a shot of ephemeral. And what it does to scanners is it eases their scanning ability to the point of not being able to scan at all, depending on how the drug works and depending on the scanner. And it quiets their mind and stops all the thoughts and stops all the transferring of information that your brain does, processing thoughts and stuff like that. And it stops the voices. And he gets to explain to him, you know, what he is, this and that, the other, and so on and so forth, and his purposes for Cameron. He tells Cameron about Dale Revick and what his plans on doing and what Dale has been up to and what he's been doing to people and so on and so forth. And there's a legion of road scanners out there and so on and so forth. And he's trying to use Cameron to find Revick so they can find some form of link to him, find out where he is, and like I said, go out and kill him. And, you know, while he's explaining that, then they take you to the scene because, as like I said, I was 5 years old. We're in the theater. At this point, I'm okay. This is when I became not okay. It goes into this scene where the consect are having this conference at this big meeting hall, and there's a scanner there, and he's telling them about the scanning ability, you know, and trying to help them better understand what it is to be a scanner, what scanning is, what it does to people, you know, it can be dangerous, you know, so on and so forth, and this and that and have you. And as he's explaining this, he asks for a volunteer to come up to where he is so he can scan them and they can better get an idea of what scanning is and this and that and the other. And of course, in the audience is Daryl Revick. And of course, Daryl is a scanner. And he knows he's a scanner. And he knows he's a very strong scanner. In fact, he knows exactly what his whole intention is going up here, being this volunteer. So he goes up there and the man tells him, you know, it can be uncomfortable, this and that and the other. And he asks the guy, Revick asks the guy, what do I have to do? Do I need to close my eyes? You know, do I need to think of something? And the guy tells him he can close his eyes if he wants to, he can leave them open. And he tells Revick to think of something specific. And, you know, he's playing it all off. Okay, I got something, I have something. And the scanning starts. And I'm just gonna be quiet and let you all watch this. Look at what this evil son of a bitch does to this man. Watch what he does to him. Wait, let me look, because I want to watch it along with y'all, because this is just really good. And look at this, y'all. You see the people in the audience, like, because the man has already explained to them what scanning does. So, and why would he be reacting as if he's in pain and he should be scanning him? So, of course, okay, and y'all see how intense it is. I don't even want to watch. Did y'all see that? He scanned that man so that he exploded his fucking head. When his head exploded, you all. Creep freaks, foreheads, my hellions of horror. And everybody that may be watching right now. I jumped out of that seat so hard in that theater. You talk about somebody's child that screamed, and I instantly told my mother and all my uncles and family that was there, I'm ready to go. I don't want to see nothing else. It's done for me. Can y'all please take me home? I was done. Completely done with this movie. I didn't want to see anything beyond this point, but of course, you thought I got took home? No. In fact, it seemed like They put me with a person that was closer to the screen, trying to calm me down. How you trying to calm me down and you putting me closer to the screen? But anyway, y'all. After that, it goes into them capturing Daryl Rabbit, and they try to shoot him with some ephemeral to stop his scan because he's trying to say he didn't do anything, but they clearly know it was him. We know you did this. It's time to capture you, this and that and the other, because they're trying to transfer him somewhere else so you know they can keep him locked away or whatever the case may be. So, of course, he's a scanner. They trying to shoot him with ephemeral, and he clearly looks at this doctor, starts scanning the hell out of him. And when he scans the man is trying to shoot Daryl, and he moves the syringe to his own hand and shoots himself with the ephemeral. And of course, now they think Daryl done been prepped to put into this transport car and take him where they taking him, because they think that he's been injected with the ephemeral. Of course, let me explain. Given to regular human beings, the ephemeral will know nothing, has no side effects, I meant to say. It doesn't do anything wrong. Fruit fly. It does nothing harmful or any type of anything to regular human beings. So they take him on, or whatever the case may be, and they find Daryl after they take you back to the scene of they take you back to the scene of Cameron when he's at the facility talking to Paul Ruth, and Dr. Ruth shows him this video of Daryl Rabbit and how crazy he was. At 23 years of age, he had took a drill and drilled a hole in his head because he could not deal with his scanning ability. It actually drove him crazy, to the point where the voices just drove him crazy to hear the voices. He drilled a hole in his head, talking about he's trying to let out people, let out voices, whole hands, bodies, everything is just crazy. So after showing him the video, that's when Dr. Paul Ruth tells Cameron what he wants him to go out and do. Find Rabbit, come back to me, let me know where he is, because we're looking for him, you know, his team or whatever the case may be, so on and so forth happens. So he goes out looking, and they tell him the best way to find Daryl Rabbit is through this guy named Benjamin Pierce, who is also a scanner, but he keeps all the information to himself to stay alive because he knows about Rabbit. Rabbit knows he's a scanner, knows this and then the other, so on and so forth, and knows that he's not a part of his coalition for whatever reasons. He's allowing Benjamin to stay alive. It's not stated, but he knows where to find Rabbit. So Cameron goes to this art exhibit because Benjamin Pierce is an artist. That was his way of dealing with his scanning, because it sounds like being a scanner has a great ability as far as having a special ability you're born with, but it seemed like it came with a lot of bad side effects, not only from the ephemeral, but just having the scanning ability yourself. Thus far, I hear myself say everybody go through these problems. But anyway, they go ahead on, and he goes to this exhibit. You see all of Benjamin's weird sculptures or whatever the case may be. And he's talking to the director of the art gallery. And, you know, I'm interested in buying a piece, but it won't go accordingly to how I really want to. Think I'll be more interested in purchasing this piece if I can meet the artist. And, you know, the art director of the gallery tells him, no, I'm sorry. It's a pact that I have with the artist. He's to remain unknown at all times. And I'm afraid if I allow anyone to know exactly where he is or send someone to him, I'll lose him as an artist. His work is very drawing. It's been beneficial. It's been beneficial having his work in my art gallery. I'm sorry, I cannot tell you where he is. Well, maybe you can just give me his, address, and I can go on my own and you won't be involved. And he was telling him, no, that just won't do either. So Cameron tells the art director, well, why don't you just think of where he lives and start scanning the art director, and his nose started bleeding, and all the people there was like, what's wrong? He's like, I don't know. I'm just all of a sudden starting to feel ill. So they're like, let's take you back to your office and sit down. There, being one of the art director's friends, is Miss Kim Obrist, who is also a scanner, and she's a very strong scanner as well. But Cameron doesn't know about her, but she clearly knows that Cameron is a scanner as well as she is, because she scans Cameron for scanning her art gallery for me. He doesn't know where the scan's coming from, but he knows somebody is scanning me, and she gives him a nosebleed. And when he turns around trying to figure out who it is, she gets out of sight. However, he ends up finding out where Benjamin Pierce is anyway. And he goes to Ben, and he's asking Ben questions about, I need to find Bill Rabbit. He's trying to spin him with this story that he came up with in hopes to get the information out of Ben. But Ben is no dummy. He knows that it's not true, so and so, so and so. So he tells Cameron to get out. But, of course, no, I'm not leaving until you tell me how to find Daryl Rabbit. And he tells him, oh, so you're not going to leave? Okay, well then I'll leave. And Ben gets up and walks out of the big gigantic head. Did y'all see? And I don't know if Daryl knew that Cameron was there and he was trying to get the information to where he is from Ben Pierce. But however, he sent his team there and they off him. They shoot him up, something big. But what they don't know, I'm sure that the team of, I don't know, because it's never been stated in the film, and I really haven't been able to put it, watching the film, are they regular people that's working for Daryl out of being terrified? Because they don't have, actually, they are just regular, normal people who are working for him, because I'm sure after, because what I'm going to tell you, then I just answered my own questions. I'm sorry. So he goes and he continues on looking around Daryl, and all of a sudden, in his mind's eye, he could see the people. And he starts scanning each and every last person. And as he's scanning the people, you know what I'm saying, I'm getting terrified, because automatically I think once somebody starts scanning somebody, their head gonna explode or whatever the case may be. So I'm getting terrified, I'm getting mortified. But he's scanning them, and he just throwing them across stuff and throwing this and this and that. So I'm still terrified watching the film, this and then the other, so on and so forth. But I'm okay. No head explosion. Okay, I'm okay. So they go and leave. Actually, after that happened, he goes to Pierce's body. Cameron goes to Pierce, and he's laying there. And he scans his mind, because of course his body's dying. So they're able to link to each other just like they link to anyone else or anything with a nervous system. And I'll tell you what that means when I get through with this, explaining this scene, and I go into the next one. So he's scanning his brain, and he's telling Cameron to find Kim Obrist. Find Kim Obrist. So he goes and he's searching, and he goes to this little meeting that Kim is holding, her and some scanner friends, regular scanners that are not a part of Reverick's legion of scanners, and they're holding this meeting or whatever the case may be. And they find out, all the scanners that's there with Kim, they find out that Reverick's team went out and killed Ben. I guess he already knew that Cameron's on his way there to try to find out information about him. So he had sent them out to kill them, but it was too late. He was there already before they got there. That's probably why they didn't know he was there. You know what I'm saying? And of course, that answered my questions, reiterating back to what I stated. They must have been regular people who had been working for Reverick, because they had no scanning ability, or they would have known that he was there with Benjamin Pierce. and they would have been able to scan him back when he starts scanning them. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, they find out what's going on through Kim Obrist as far as what Revik's plan is. Because they are known to him. They know about him. They've been known what he's about, this and that, the other, so on and so forth. So they know what his plans are. So Cameron goes to Consect, the factory of Consect, where they make ephemeral. He pretends to be one of the workers. They'll put on their uniform and all their hazmat, PPE or whatever the case may be. And he hides and looks into the boardroom of directors and finds Daryl there. And he finds out that Daryl is making more ephemeral. And the reason why he's making ephemeral, so he can send it out and target it to pregnant women in hopes that this drug, as he knows, it will create more scanners. And he can seek out these scanners and draw them in and make them a part of his evil scanner coalition. And once he finds out this information, he takes it back to Paul Ruth, and he's telling Paul, that I found out what you want to know, but he also finds out that somebody on the Concept board of directors is an infiltrator and is a snake and been working all along with Revik, telling him everything that Concept has been planning to do to catch him. That's how Daryl found out about Cameron and this and that and the other and so on and so forth. So he finds out about what the RIPE program is used for, which is the program that was used by Dr. Rube as a means to target his drug for the purpose of helping people. Now that Daryl Revik has taken it over, because Dr. Roof was under the impression that the RIPE program had been stopped after he gave up the program and gave up the drug when he found out that ephemeral was causing scanners. This is why he's so into it, because his drug created them. So I'm trying to figure out about these telepathic curiosities we know as scanners, and better figure out what their needs are. Do we need to be afraid of them as regular normal people in society, so on and so forth having. And he tells him, well, Vale, what I want you to do is find out what's in the RIPE program. What are they using? What's the information? Are there contacts or whatever it is that is being used for? I need you to find that information out. And he was like, I can't. He has a lock on everything. There's a lock on the computer system. I don't know the passcode. And that's when Dr. Roof tells Cameron, going into my next scene that I love so much. Now, this is the scene that kind of like took down my fear a bit and really like got me into the movie, because I love action as well as horror. So even as a 5-year-old, although I was scared, the action drew me into it. You know what I'm saying? So he tells Cameron, you can scan it. You have a nervous system, and so does a computer, talking about they can link to anything with a nervous system. That's what I meant in my previous statement, and I said I would get into that after I said what I was talking about before I got to this scene, the scene before this one. Yes. So he goes to a payphone, dials into the Concept motherboard at the big place where Revik is running everything, and links his brain to the computer and starts scanning for the information. Soon as he starts scanning it, it starts giving him every woman that has been targeted, every list of patients that's taken the drug, what the RIPE program is intended for, everybody's involved, all this, and he just sucking it all in. He on his phone, he just taking it all in. So Keller, who is one of the Concept leader heads at the big place, the other big office where Dr. Roofnam is at, which he's supposed to be working with to help them find Revik. All along he's working with Revik. Finds out that somebody is in the computer getting all the information. He puts 2 and 2 together. It has to be Cameron Vale. How do I stop him? you know, what do I do, so on and so forth, this and the other stuff. So they tell him the only way for me to be able to counteract him is I'm going to have to shut down the computer system. And the only way I'm gonna have to do that is I'm gonna have to destroy everything in the system. I'm gonna have to just shut down the whole entire system. It's gonna erase everything. And he tells him do it. And he tells the tech tells Keller, I cannot do that without concepts permission. And Keller draws out a gun. This is your permission. Now, do what I just said. So he gets to doing all the preparation it takes to this camera study, scanning it and so on and so forth, and this and that other. So now it's getting to the point of doing the self-destruct malfunctioning. It's counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it starts to break down the system. And with him being linked to it, you could tell it's hurting him too. He scanned that goddamn system so everything started to catch fire. The inside of the phone system, the electricity, the phone wires above, all that, everything, just instantly, everything just started to catch fire. He scanned it so, as y'all can see, the phone starts melting. So now that he got the information, and he goes to one of the doctor's offices too, where they're using the ephemeral, finding out one of the contacts. Goes there, him and Kim is waiting in the waiting room, and he goes into, he takes the bottle of the ephemeral to go ask the doctor, where did you get this? Have you been using this? Whatever, ask questions. As she's sitting there in the waiting room, there's another pregnant lady in there with her, and her pregnant baby, her unborn baby, starts scanning Kim from inside the mother. Knows when she wondering where the scan coming from, because she thinking it's the lady that she was talking to in the waiting room. But no, it's her unborn child. And she tells this once she get up and get away, she runs toward the patient's room where you see Cameron talking to the doctor. And she tells him, and he's like, what happened? She said, I was scanned. And he's like, somebody scanned you? He said, the lady in the waiting room. And he asked her, she scanned you? No, her unborn child scanned me. So now he knows for a fact, and he tells her, that's what I've been trying to tell you, that ephemeral is creating new scanners. So they run out of the doctor's office, and Kim goes, all of a sudden, no, before they even leave out of the doctor's office, a tranquilizer dart comes in, and it hits Kim. And then another one comes through, and they run out, and Kim falls. And he's, Cameron trying to get her, Kim, and you hear Vale. And when he turns around, it's Daryl standing there, and he shoots him with one. And all of a sudden, it fades black, and then you see Cameron laying on the couch inside of Daryl Reffick's office. He wakes up, and Daryl tells him, Sleeping Beauty awakes. And then he started explaining to him, I know you've been looking for me, this and then the other, so on and so forth. And, he started asking him, when was his first childhood memory? Who was his parents? And he tells him, I don't know. And Daryl Reffick tells him, there's no accident you don't know. It's because you was kept on ice. And it was only when Consec needed you to find me, trying to seek me out, as they unthawed you and allowed you to live like scum, trying to find me, or whatever the case may be. And of course, Cameron's not believing it right away. So he goes into this magazine that's, this ephemeral ad. And he starts explaining to him about Dr. Ruth, and he made ephemeral and this and the other. And ephemeral created scanners, and it was given to his pregnant wife, the first prototype of the drug, and this and that, the other. And you come to find out that Dr. Paul Ruth is Dale Revick's father. And not only is he Dale Revick's father, he's also Cameron Vale's father. They are the children, the first children that ever became scanners and was ever given the drug. And of course, he don't believe him. And he study goes into it, and this and the other. And then that's when Revic goes into his purpose of what he wants to do as a scanner. You know, come together with this coalition, take over the world of normal people. You know, since scanners will be the top race of people of the world, and this and the other. Sort of kind of the stuff that Dr. Paul Roof was telling Vale when he was explaining to him what scanners were and this and the other. And although Daryl wants to do it for a malicious reason, Dr. Paul Roof has the same idea of what he want to use scanners for, even though it's not as malicious or for any malicious intent as Daryl Revic, but it's still not welcoming, and it's still something that keeps scanners from being free of who they are as people and being able to live a normal life, being scanners and not have to be used as some type of science project and being, you know, tested on and observed all the time, and, you know, people analyzing them. And Cameron tells Revic, you sound just like him, like Ruth. And Daryl gets mad. He's like, no, I sound like me, Daryl Revic. This is me. And he was like, no, like Ruth. It's as if he's been reincarnated in you. Because down throughout in the movie, I left that part out, sorry you all, Dr. Paul Roof gets murdered by Keller. He blows Dr. Roof's heads off. So that's when Cameron tells him it's like he's been reincarnated in you. You know, everything you saying, it sounds just like him. And that's when Revic tells Cameron, you sound defeated. It bothers me to hear you talk like that. You know, you've been hanging around Kim Obrist and her band of cripples for too long. You know, you sound like a defeatist. You know, and then he bends down and, you know, he tells Cameron, I've been relying on you for many years now. You know, tell me you're not going to betray me like all the rest. Tell me you're not. Trying to get into Cameron's head, but he's aware of what he's trying to do. And he picks up this little ornament that's on Daryl Revic's desk, and he hits him over the head with it and knocks him down, and that's when it goes down from there. And Daryl tells him, all right, we're going to do it the scanner way. I'm going to suck your brain dry. Everything you are is going to become me. You're going to be with me, Cameron, no matter what. After all, brothers should be close, don't you think? And they start scanning each other. Now, as a 5-year-old, I already know from watching horror movies, something is about to go down. You talk about somebody was shaking like a leaf in the middle of a blizzard on a cold winter's night. I was so scared, you all, because of the visuals and the way that his veins was coming through his arm and all up the side of Revic's face, and all the horrible, like, body horrible things they were doing to each other throughout the midst of this scanner fight, the scanner duel, or whatever you want to call it. But I was from one place to another. I was in my mother's seat, then I got out of my mother's lap, and I was on my grandmother's lap, then I was with my uncles, and then I love Howard Shore. Wonderful person as far as a musician and doing film scores, because the film score to scanners is what really, really heightened the scanning thing. And those noises, like the scanning noises, it was too much for me. And finally, after he done burnt the hole in his chest, that made him dig his face open, and he just really scanned him, you can tell that he's no match for Daryl Revic. Daryl is much, much stronger as a scanner than Cameron. But he's not smarter than Cameron. Because if you all pay attention to this scene, and I love it, there's a lot of people that have seen the film don't take it as I took it. He used his very, very statement against them to counteract them and defeat them. You're going to be with me no matter what. After all, brothers should be close. Everything you are is going to become me. And he took over Daryl's body and forced him out to save himself. He ignited his whole body in flames and then sunned his soul out of his body into Daryl's, to push Daryl into his frying body to heal them. So when she comes in, right after the scanner duel scene, Kim comes, she wakes up because Kim also was in another room in the office building of Daryl Revic's. And she wakes up and she's looking for Cameron, and she walks into the room where the whole duel went down, and she see this cooked, fried body just laying in the middle of ashes, just cooked all to be damned. And she just know in her heart that this is Cameron. She know it's him. And she bends down and she calls Cameron's name. And you hear Kim. And then the camera pans over to somebody that's in the corner with this coat over them. And then they unveil themselves and you see that it's Daryl Verrick's body. It's Daryl's body. But then you hear, it's me, Kim. Cameron, I'm here. We've won. We've won. And you see the eyes. And you know that it is Cameron inside of Daryl Verrick's body. Because Daryl Verrick's eyes are brown. Now they're blue, like Cameron's. And you clearly know that now the soul of Cameron lives in Daryl Verrick's body. But in my opinion, and what I've always thought, how would they know it's not him? Now I know other scanners would be able to scan and tell who they are, who this is, who that is. But what if the other scanners or people that are out to get Daryl think that he's Daryl, or whatever the case would be? I've always wondered that throughout seeing this film as a child and then growing up and seeing it as a teen and as an adult and so on throughout life, you know. What happens after that? You know what I'm saying? You taking his body, but now you look like him. What if somebody think that you're him? You know, and so on and so forth. After the film went off, you all, my mother grabbed me by my hand and literally, you all, I was putty. Like, I was just putty. I was so scared as far as the visuals and watching scanners and seeing what it did if you got scanned by somebody. It terrified me so, just let me say this, to the point where my uncles named horrible people would act as if they were scanning me if I had did something as a child, and they would tell me, "Are you being bad? I'm gonna suck your brain dry." And they would do, and I would literally, you all just scream to the, oh God, you talk about crying and scream and beg for my life. I thought they popped my head open. It took many years later to realize that they couldn't scan me. The only way they would be able to scan me is put me in a scanning machine. Copier, you know what I mean? And but just the thought of that, you all, like, seriously. But that was my first experience with this telepathic terror by David Cronenberg, known as Scanners, 1981. Like I said, and it took the 80s by storm. It took the early 80s by storm. People really were into this film for its visuals and just for the storyline itself. You know what I'm saying? It's the whole old storyline of good versus evil, in a sense, of the good people versus the bad. We all got the same ability, but I want to use mine for good, you want to use yours for bad, and we can't have that, so we're just gonna, you know what I'm saying? And after I got home and watching TV and this and that and the other, anytime that trailer would come on for Scanners, I would turn the TV. I didn't want anything to do with that movie for a very long time. But for you all that has not had the pleasures of seeing Scanners, you can get it now on Blu-ray disc. They have now upgraded it. I think you can get it for 4K now. But the highest of definition, I know for a fact, you can get it on Blu-ray. You can get it on DVD. And in some places, you might have to get online and order it, maybe as an import. If you don't have these things, you still have your VHS. You can get Scanners on VHS as well. Again, that is my first time in my experience with this movie we call Scanners. Thank you all for tuning in once again. I appreciate each and every last one of you. Again, if you have not hit your subscription button, pop, hit your see, that's probably why y'all won't subscribe. If I could say the word right, subscription. Let me say that again. Subscription. Hit your subscription button, pop your notification bell. Please give this video a thumbs up, as it helps me so much. And thanks again for tuning in to Father Lokk's Favs Horror Hall of Fame, the Fan Fave Choice Award edition. Thanks again, Miss Annie. She ready? She was ready, and I was ready. I got you with Scanners, Annie. Thank you and congratulations once again. And to all of my creep freaks, my horror heads, and my hellions of horror, I will see you all when I come to y'all. We getting up this ladder, y'all, because now I'll be inducting my 5th inductee into Father Lokk's Favs Horror Hall of Fame, and hopefully you all will be with me as I do that. Again, keep yourself protected. Make sure you're wearing your mask. Keep your children protected as well. COVID is getting hella worse, and it seems like it's only going to get worse before it gets any better. So please, y'all, do your social distancing. Let's keep each other protected and keep each other safe. And I will see you all when I'm here inducting my next movie into Father Lokk's Favs Horror Hall of Fame. Fan fave. All right, my creep freaks, horror heads, and hellions of horror. I will talk to you all later. And until then, I love y'all. Bye, babies.